Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say, and we're sitting down with Chisholm today. He's one of our CFIs here at Thrust. We've spoken with you before, but we'll take a second to get to know you. If you're a new viewer or a new listener, my name is Zach, and I host this podcast weekly. So go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, especially subscribe so that you can check out the next episode. That being said, would you mind introducing yourself one time?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chisholm Brewer. I'm one of the assistant chief instructors here at Thrust Flight. I've been working here as an instructor for a year and some change, and I did all my training here as well. So 0 to hero, that's where I'm at. So
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
You went to Oshkosh recently, right?
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, how was that?
Dude, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was legit.
I have questions about it. We'll dive into it a little bit. I also wanted to ask you, you're one of the chief instructors, but you guys kind of have your roles divvied up a little bit, right?
Yep.
Kind of what do you pay attention to? What's your role? What's your scope of responsibilities?
Sure. So I'm just the assistant chief. So we have like chiefs that are higher up. They're really the ones that are like managing like the school, the program. My role is that I'm basically like a team lead for a group of instructors. So I'm helping our instructors out, making sure that their all their needs are met. And then I'm also instructing students as well. So kind of a little hybrid of, managerial, but also still instructor role.
Right. It seems like would that be something to help you guys be on the same page as a team? Because there's a lot of instructors now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of instructors here. So we always have to like make sure like our instructors are doing well, make sure like we're teaching the curriculum right, things like that. But the other thing too, we're kind of like the in between like the higher ups as like our chiefs and the instructors that are on the line, knowing exactly like what's going on day to day. And so
yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it seems pretty organized to me, the way it sounds. But you guys had to get there because I remember when I first started working here. Even then, I don't think it was as well structured as it sounds like it is now.
Oh yeah, big time.
When did you become an instructor?
So I started working here as an instructor April of 24. So a little over a year.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been awesome.
What are some things that have changed since you began instructing in terms of how you see flight training?
Sure. So whenever I first started instructing, when you first begin instructing, it's like kind of chaotic, right? Honestly, whenever I first began, like most of my instructors that I reached out to, they were like, I was like, how'd you feel when you first got hired? And they were like, dude, I had no idea what I was doing, because you're so new to it. You haven't, been put in that role yet.
Right.
I was about the same way, but once you jump in, like you realize like the training that you've had, it prepares you for, everything that you need to instruct well. And you start to learn tips and tricks along the way, right? From the higher up guys, right? But really the biggest thing that's changed for me is seeing just where the school has grown into, adapting to that growth, which has been it's a challenge, but it's been a really cool thing to see too.
Right.
And I actually viewed the school way back in like 2019, where we only had like 2 Cessnas and like 10 sport cruisers, and it really wasn't like that big of an operation. And now we're just kind of growing and expanding. So it's cool to see,
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine because I've only been here for about a year and a half, and we've expanded a bit. We actually just opened our location, or we're opening our location in August right now. We sent Dylan Collins out there as our chief pilot instructor. But that's opening up in August. We got some people already set up for the first class. So it sounded like a myth for a long time almost. But it's happening. So I'm going out there next week actually.
Oh, nice.
Kinda exciting.
Yeah. We just hired on some new instructors here. We're sending them, just train them up. We're going to send them out there. And so they're all ready to get rock and rolling. It sounds like it's going to be really cool out there. It's really busy, but it's a really awesome training environment too.
That's what I'm looking forward to finding out. We're going to talk to some of the other flight schools and instructors and kind of like see what their practices are and just make sure that fill out the airport. I'm going to try to do a little bit of video work so that we can release something on YouTube about, hey, here's what we're expecting, but it'll be fun to check it out a little bit. So maybe I'll talk to one of you guys to see if there's any questions y'all would have as instructors.
Sure.
And I'll be out there.
Ask. Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
I want to ask you a bit more about Oshkosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, is this your first time going? And if not, how many times have you gone?
This is my first time ever going. So it's been a dream of mine. If you talk to many people in the aviation community, this is one of those things that's like the mecca of aviation. Like you have to go to it at some point in your life.
Yeah.
So I was super blessed that I was able to go up this year, and it was really, really a cool time.
I almost thought that, at the end of last year, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be going to Oshkosh in 2025. But we've been so busy here. It sounds like people asked for me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, where's the media guys or something?
Yeah,
Someone told me
sure.
that, but which I don't expect. That being said, I think I'll be popping out there soon because I need to get my feet wet. So
yeah, dude,
learning about
absolutely.
aviation.
Yeah, you definitely need to go next year. I highly recommend it to like anybody. It's probably one of the coolest like aviation experiences you could have for sure.
What do you feel like you walk away with, and can you sort of describe what it is in the first place for anyone who may not understand?
Yeah, for sure. So Oshkosh, or EAA Air Venture, it's hosted by the Experimental Aircraft Association. This started about 50 years ago.
Okay.
And the story is told is that up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is just a small regional airport, there were guys that were, learning to build their own airplanes, and they were like, let's get a group of us together one weekend, and we'll just like cook out, barbecue, and we'll like learn and everybody's tips and tricks, and then from there it just exploded. Whereas now, like this year, they broke the attendance record and the aircraft flying in record.
Wow.
So there were over 700,000 people there, and then 10,000 planes flew in. And it's just a giant festival of...
I did not realize it was that big.
It's gigantic.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I don't even know what to compare that to. I'd have to Google it. But like,
yeah,
music festivals don't have that many people.
This is the equivalent of like Woodstock of Aviation. Like, it's insane. And cool. Then the really cool part about it is that so it's really for people that want to learn how to build their own aircraft, but they have a ton of other stuff too, like static displays of unique rare aircraft that are there. People fly in to camp out, and they'll just bring tents and camp by their planes, and then every day there's an air show. Yeah, it's super cool. And then everybody talks about the Fisk Arrival into Oshkosh, and it's a really cool but challenging approach into getting to an airport.
Yeah.
You don't use your radio at all.
Oh, really?
And it's a giant just conga line of planes, and you're all a mile from each other, and they acknowledge you by like rocking your wings, and that's how you acknowledge that you hear them, and they'll tell you what to do, and then you fly in, you land on a certain dot on the runway.
What is that? What is that? That's fulfilling some sort of appetite for a pilot. What is that?
Oh, yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's just the most unique experience that you can get, and I don't know. It's just so cool. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. So for that approach, is there who gets to be a part of it?
So anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's literally we've had people that were flying up where they'd call us up and they'd say, "Where are you from?" We're over here. Like, we're from Dallas, Texas. There's people from I'm from San Diego. I'm from New York. Like, there's people all over the country.
That's pretty cool.
Just filing in, lining up to come and land at Oshkosh, and it's just so unique to see, and I don't know, just the amount of aircraft that are there is just insane.
That's awesome. So 1 out of 10, what do you recommend then?
It's a 10, obviously, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Like, you got to go at some point.
Well, I'm gonna check it out. I didn't realize it was as big as it was. I mean, I knew it was a big deal. I just didn't understand it was that many people in attendance.
Oh yeah.
So what was your favorite part?
Oh man.
First of all, how many days were you there?
So we arrived in on Sunday, and then we left on Monday. Okay. So we were there for a little over 7 days.
Okay. So you got the whole experience. That's why I wanted to check.
Yeah, for sure. The show is from Monday to Sunday, but it's every day throughout that week, and so it's really cool. Probably my favorite thing was the air shows. So every day at around 2:00, they have an air show of all unique aircraft and fighter jets, and there's like, oh, this is like the only plane of this kind flying in the world. You just get to see so many unique aircraft and performances and so many skilled pilots. That was probably my favorite part, but my other favorite part too was just getting to see like the aviation community, and it's super small. Like that's what's really cool. So you see people that your influencers on TikTok. You see the people that are manufacturers of aircraft, and all sorts of jazz. So it's a really tight knit community, and a lot of people just know each other. That's what's
when you
really
put
cool.
it that way too. I didn't think about the fact of how many people are actually how many people are there that would go to an event like Oshkosh? I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably like they probably have got most of the people that would go to go.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like
Mm.
supposedly like Harrison Ford was there, and Tom Cruise sometimes makes an appearance, you know, and those guys are pilots as well. So really it's any and all pilots. So you have kids that are like interested in aviation,
Yeah.
all the way up until your old timers who, you know, they've been flying for, 50 years.
It's the
So
spot to go to, kind of.
it
It's
is,
really cool.
absolutely.
Did Thrust Flight send you out there, or was it something you kind of went on your own accord? Obviously, you were excited to go anyways, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Thrust Flight, they sent us out there.
Mhm.
It was me and two other instructors, one of our chief instructors, and then one of our senior instructors went
Mm.
up too. So
Did we have you? Did we set up a booth or something? What was Thrust Flight's thing out there?
we were able to take one of our Piper Archers up there.
Mhm.
Nick, one of our senior instructors, and I, we were able to fly it from Addison
Mhm.
all the way up until Wisconsin.
It's fun.
So yeah, it was really, really cool. And we had our plane there. We set up a booth and kind of posted up for the first time in a while since we've been up there.
Yeah, and did people stop by? They ask about things that what? Because I'm curious about how you, first of all, how you interact with people, but also how Thrust Flight interacts with people out there. Because I never really understood the idea of setting up the booth at other places,
Yeah,
other
yeah.
than just kind of being a part of.
Really, all it was for us to, tell people about our school and our aviation maintenance program. That was the biggest objective for us, and just to see exactly like what's new in aviation.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do people know about us? Because someone said something about, oh, I see you guys on YouTube, but I only heard that
Yeah,
from one person. But you were there. Did
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
mention anything about Thrust Flight to you that they've seen
Yeah,
us?
a lot of people in the Texas area were there,
Mm.
which is really cool. So they know us by our name, hearing our call sign.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people did come up and talk about our YouTube channel and about like the instructing videos that we have, and we had CFIs come up to us about like, oh, I love y'all's videos. Like, I show them to my students to help them learn, and it was really cool to see like the aviation community really knows about us just out that channel.
See, maybe I'm asking for personal gain because I get nervous sometimes because I'm participating in aviation
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that I'm doing it all justice as best as I can. So I look for feedback sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come over there and talk to you chief guys over there
Yeah,
and
yeah, for
say, hey,
sure.
any feedback?
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
absolutely.
follow you over there after
Yeah.
afterwards. You're probably going home after this, right?
No, I'm going back to work,
Oh, you
man.
got more work to
Yeah,
do.
we're
I thought
working
you were
all
off today.
day.
I thought you were just coming in to talk to me.
No, no, we're working all the time, man.
Okay, sweet.
We never stop.
If you go back to Oshkosh, is there something you would do different, or is there something that you'd want to like maybe get a more of a taste of?
Yeah, I think that I would love to learn more about, how we actually can build airplanes, things like that. That's
Mm.
that's me personally.
Hmm.
Because that's basically really all what it is, you have all these manufacturers that are there that,
Hmm.
we have Piper and, all of those manufacturers too, but, a lot of people are there to learn how to build airplanes. And so
Right.
that's a really cool thing for me to learn. But
Do you feel like that kind of going this time made you more interested in that though?
oh yeah, absolutely. For
Yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah. It made me realize like it isn't as crazy hard as you think it is. It's a slow, meticulous process, but you can get it done and
Yeah.
obviously with some help for sure.
I know we're over at our maintenance school, the sister school, Thrust Institute of Maintenance.
Yeah.
uh, we had an experimental plane that
Yep.
I don't know if someone at Thrust built it or if we got it from someone, but it was there
Yep.
for a while. But I don't think anyone ever flew it
Yeah.
here because we didn't. Yeah.
So it's actually cool. We got to talk to our maintenance team, and they were saying that plane that was all student built by the maintenance
Wow.
school. So that's something that's like really cool and unique. Like they were the ones that built it. Obviously, they had supervision to make sure everything was inspected and
Uh-huh.
correct. But yeah, they got to basically build and put together their own plane.
So for the listeners and the viewers, we have Thrust Institute of Maintenance, which is Thrust Flight's sister school. It's all under the umbrella of Thrust, but we've opened our maintenance facility in the Conroe location. So now we have both schools over there, all in one hangar. So if you're interested in things like working on planes and understanding the maintenance, and you want to get your airframe and power plant certificate, then we offer that as well. It's going really strongly, and it's always a good time when I go hang out with those guys over there. They have a good time.
Oh yeah.
We have lots of tools at our disposal. John Dillenberg is our director, and he does a great job. But that being said, maybe I'll talk to John a little bit about maybe trying to get an experience, like maybe having a class build plane and getting
yeah.
it over there at Oshkosh. 'Cause that'd
Yeah,
be kind of cool.
I think this if we go again this next year, I think that's what we'd like to do. We'd like to send that plane up there and
Yeah.
just show like this is what, our students can do. It's like absolutely insane. Like it's literally
I mean,
thousands of planes that are camping out. And then on top of that, you have like actual campers there and there's about like 5,000 of them.
yeah.
And then there's people just flying in and out just for funsies and like it's crazy huge.
Yeah,
Like
maybe I would like see if I can rent like one of those camper vans or something and drive out there and meet you guys or
honestly,
something. That'd be super cool.
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
for
did y'all stay
sure.
in a hotel?
No, we stayed in an Airbnb.
Okay, an Airbnb.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Airbnb is cool though. You get to
Yeah.
cook and stuff, unless y'all
Yeah.
didn't cook. But I like to cook breakfast. So
We low-key were in somebody's basement for the whole week, so it was actually like kind of weird, but it was really fun.
I stayed in someone's basement in Atlanta one time. And I was
Yep.
like, this is definitely weird.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like
No, we thought we were gonna get murdered the whole
yeah,
week.
yeah.
But they were actually like the nicest people in the world, and like after that, like they were super kind. They were like, "Hey, here's my contact info. Like get in touch with us. Like next year, if y'all want to come, like y'all can have the whole house, and you guys are the best." Like they're super nice.
I
So.
kind of like that about some of those Airbnbs because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of it's kind of humbling to like think something's weird, but it'd all be
Yeah.
okay anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was totally fine. It was
Yeah,
totally
yeah, that's
fine.
pretty cool. Are there guest speakers at Oshkosh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So they have tons of lectures and lessons that can go on. So
Did you participate in any of those or like listen to any of those?
we're pretty busy with our booth, which is a good thing. But we had some time that we could take out of our schedule to go and like kind of explore and do things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, they had speakers from all over the world, talking about any type of thing you can think about. Maybe some regulations that are new. Talking about like workshops. That's like one cool thing that they have up there is they actually have like workshops where you can learn how to weld, you can learn how to work with fabric, things like that. But then they also have guys that were like they fought in World War II and Vietnam, and they had like speakers about them, and
Right.
you name it. Like they had so many guests.
Okay.
Because
I feel like because everyone enters aviation for a different reason. It sounds like some people, I mean, since they were a child, they had like a toy and they're like, I want to fly a plane now. And someone took their first plane ride, and someone's parent was, or someone was 23 and they met somebody.
Yeah.
What about you? What was sort of your origin story for your interest in aviation or flying?
For sure. So I always loved like when it doesn't go with planes, but I loved trains growing up. And then eventually my dad, he took me to an air show when I was about like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And it was just nuts to getting to see fighter jets and all sorts of planes getting to fly.
Yeah.
So I was hooked from there, and then I played Microsoft Flight Simulator after that. I kind of got into there. And then whenever I was 11, I got to fly a helicopter, and it was just like by pure happenstance that it happened, and just getting to do that was really like the pinnacle of like, all right, yeah, this is what I want to do.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and throughout my life, I had like random, odd things. And one thing I had was I was an equestrian attendant. So what this is it's basically a flight attendant for horses, right? So what we did was that we'd go down to Houston, load horses into 747s and 777s, like some of the biggest planes out there.
Wow.
And we'd fly them over to Europe. Well, on those flights, the doors to the cockpit, they didn't have them. They were just curtains. So I could go into the cockpit and sit with the pilots and say, hey, can I see how y'all do y'all's thing? So I got to see a behind the scenes look of what my life would look like. And there I was hooked. I was like, yep, this is what I want to do. And
That's so cool. And how old were you? Like, what stage of life were you in when you were an equestrian attendant?
Yeah, so that was whenever I was in my early 20s. And so this was just a couple years ago. And then, I mean, from there, I instantly was like, yep, I want to go to flight school.
That's really cool. Did you at any point, and maybe before that, and obviously you were doing different work before that, was it like where were you in terms of wanting to actually fly? Were you considering flying? Did you think that maybe you weren't gonna? Did you consider a different route in life? Like what place were you in before then?
Yeah, I was kind of lost, not gonna lie. So I didn't really know exactly what I really wanted to do. I knew flying was like there. I didn't
You knew
know
it was an interest you had at least.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't know if it was going to be a career choice.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I think I might do this as like a side gig. And so just kind of figuring out like where I wanted to go career wise. And then finally, like it wasn't until like that happened. And then, I got engaged as well. And my fiance at the time was like, you have to do this. Like
'Cause
every
you've talked
time.
about it.
Oh yeah, like we'd be out in a park and like a plane would fly over and I'm like looking up and she's like every single time a plane flies over, you do that. Like, you have to go down this path.
There's like a responding to your interest in it, or did you actually talk to her about considering it as a career before she like kind of pushed you?
It was both, yeah.
Yeah.
So like we both talked about it. I told her about maybe the challenges that we might have with it.
Right.
Because pilots, they're known to be away from home and things like that. It's not a normal 9 to 5 lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I had a pretty good conversation with her about it, and it was funny. Like 3 months into dating, she looked at me and just was like, "All right, tell me what my life is going to be like with you." And I was like, "I might be gone for holidays, this and that, but like we're gonna have a really fun like career. I'll get to fly everywhere. We'll have travel benefits, all these things." I'm like, "If you want to stay with me, like, that's great. If not, like, that's okay too." And she's like, "Yeah, I'll stay with you." And
Okay.
so,
Cool.
yeah, it was really cool to see. But no, really, like her seeing my passion for it, that really pushed me. She really was the one that pushed me to get to where I'm at today.
That's
So.
that's I mean that sounds like a good girl.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
The best. She's the best.
It's really cool to have somebody that like when you're thinking about spending your life with someone, it's cool to have someone who is who you don't really who is like, okay, I'm just gonna stick with you. Like you're good enough right now, or as
Yep.
you are,
Yep.
and if you're gonna grow, like that's even better.
Yep.
That's kind of like the okay, cool, we're good.
Yep.
We'll keep doing this then.
Yeah, thick and thin, man. It's
Yeah,
great.
that's
For sure.
awesome. You had this interest in it, and it seems like when you got to talk to those pilots in the cockpit, and that kind of flips the switch for you and say, "I'm gonna do this." It didn't seem like a logical decision. It just seemed like your interest was like peaked even higher to the point where it didn't really. Maybe it didn't matter. Like all the
Yeah.
other decisions didn't matter. You just acted out of pure interest. Is that true? Or I mean, at what point does the logic kick in?
Yeah,
You're like,
for
okay, this
sure.
has to make sense, or what changed from before?
Yeah. So obviously the interest was there for
Yeah.
sure. But the logistical part of it of like, all right, how are we going to make this work with our lifestyle? Figuring out like, where to go to school, things like that. How
I mean, it
long?
costs a lot of money.
Yeah, money was a big factor in that
Yeah.
too. We were living on love, whenever we were engaged. And so, I don't know, it was a logistical decision for sure.
Okay.
Getting the financing thing figured out, which luckily for me, like it worked out really, really well. My uncle, he was a co-signer on my loan, so it was really,
Blessing.
yeah, it was an awesome, really good blessing. I got a really good interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're married and now we're kind of dual income, and so that helps out a ton.
Right.
But really, like the interest there, it overcame the logistical part of me trying to figure out like this is what I want to do. But obviously, like seeing where does this road end, right?
Yeah.
And going to the airlines, that's my end goal. And
Yeah.
talking with airline pilots and all of them telling me like this is one of the best times to get in aviation, and I think that just seeing like their pay outcome, that's great benefit for sure. But I'm not doing it necessarily for the money. Like
Right.
I'm passionate about this. Like I would fly a kite if they paid me for it. And so
Yeah, I hear you. When you say that, the way you're talking about it kind of supports the idea that you can't do it for money.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some people can. Maybe some people have the grit like that.
Yeah.
Maybe some people can get their ducks in a row in a certain way and do it out of pure like X, Y, and Z, step 1, 2, and 3. But I feel like for most people, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're looking for it to make 100% sense, you're probably it's going to be a hard decision to start, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a difficult. I mean, after I've come to understand how this works, and people who want to be aggressive about it and move at a fast pace, I mean, you kind of have to be a dreamer.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you're gonna come out of this. If you're entering a school like ours, to be honest, you're gonna come out of this with debt. And a lot of payments to make.
Yep.
And with a dream of making it all work out, and people do it every day. People make it. Maybe some people don't. And it seems like the difference between the people who don't even can worry about whether or not they're gonna make it seems to be like the people who just do it because they really want to, and they're like, I'm just gonna take the risk no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. You kind of seem to be like, I'm just gonna make it happen.
Yeah, no, and I think like you're totally right. So I see that a lot. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of guys come in, they're like, they see the money at the end of the tunnel, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a long tunnel to get there, right? You have to put a lot of work in, and those I see that those that are passionate about this and want to put in the effort, no matter what, those are the ones that are the most successful.
Right.
So that's my biggest advice to any student that potentially would even want to join flight school
Mm-hmm.
is like, is this actually like a dream of yours? And, are you actually passionate about that?
Right.
Because if you are, like, this is going to be a good road for you.
Right.
But if you're thinking about the money at the end of the tunnel, it's a little bit tough just focusing just purely on the money part of it.
Right. And it almost seems like there's two types of pilots that do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, once you get past the whole not doing it for money, I see this thing where some people are like, look, I know I want to do this, and I'm just gonna ignore the risks, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go as hard as I
Yeah.
can. And some people are like, okay, I see the risk, and you know what? It'll be worth it even if I failed.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if there's a difference in their approach, but I always say, me and my friends have a saying actually, because we're risk takers.
Yeah.
We'll say something like, you have to be willing to fail in order to succeed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, look, if you're not willing to fail, well, then don't do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I can totally attest to that. So before this, like, I was not a risk taker whatsoever. I went down, the path most traveled.
Okay.
And that was my like motto in life. So
Okay.
me going to flight school, like, it was a very much a thought out, very methodical process of like, all right, do I go down this path?
Okay.
And it really, honestly, like I said before, it wasn't for my wife that she was like, you have to go down it.
That's
And that
awesome.
little nudge, that really is the thing that like pushed me towards it. And, once things were figured out and I started, like, it was the best decision I've made so far. And so
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. And it's always good to have someone in your corner
Yeah.
too. So, well, I wanted to go somewhere with that, but I don't really know where. Other than the fact that hey, if you love flight training, then go ahead and go for it.
Yeah.
It's because there's a lot of conversations online, and I'm making a lot of videos that talk about why to start and things like that. But
Yeah.
I don't want to ignore the fact that it's difficult because. Let's just go with the fact that it's expensive, and then
Yeah.
the fact that the training itself is going to push you
Yep.
mentally and and physically even, and then you're going to find yourself let's say you succeed at flight training, you get into a place where maybe you're an instructor or you choose some sort of other job, maybe to build hours or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that has its own struggles, right? I mean, you live a lifestyle now that kind of keeps you in the moment, I feel like, probably, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Because you have a partner, like you said, dual income. Do you mind me? Stop me if you don't want to talk about some of this
No,
stuff
you're
with
good.
money.
No,
But
you're fine.
you probably have some large payments on your loan starting already, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is this a difficult time as a CFI for you? Would you say? And it's okay to be honest about
No,
it, but yeah.
no, you're good. I think that it's not a difficult time, but
Mhm.
it's just a new challenge that you have to go through,
Okay.
right? And it's kind of the price that you pay to achieve that dream, right?
Mhm.
I do see that light at the end of the tunnel, but like, I'm loving what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
It is tough financially on a lot of instructors, I will
Mhm.
say, and
Yeah.
so that is something that I think really motivates instructors too to really try to build up their hours as quick as they can,
Mhm.
work as hard as they can, work long days. I've been there for sure,
Mhm.
and get towards that end goal that they might go, maybe a charter service or the
Right.
airlines, whatever it may be.
Right. Do you see, and since you work with a lot of students and instructors, what are some of the things? And I'll just give you my goal here.
Sure.
We make this podcast. We've been doing this we have like we're going to get to 100 episodes probably sooner than later.
Yeah.
We do it every week. I don't want to pretend like there's not, people out there who are finding themselves frustrated in certain positions, or maybe they didn't think about X, Y, and Z before they started.
Yeah.
Are there some methods that you're seeing students or instructors having had like taken to help support them in chasing their dream?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like
So
family or partners or whatever. But
yeah, definitely, right?
Mhm.
A lot of instructors that I've talked with, like, it doesn't matter what age they are, they're like, I still live with my parents. It's like, well, that saves on rent, that's a huge expense.
Mhm.
Some instructors, they like room together. That's like another good way to like, help out with cost savings.
Mhm.
Some people, like, they just have family that's supporting them, or,
Mhm.
with us, like, my wife and I, like, we put a stipend on my loan too to
Okay.
help us out with, as I'm going through, because I wasn't working at all.
Mhm.
I jumped in like, head first. And so
Yeah.
So really, like during that time, I was like, I needed, something to just to, like, put food on the table, things like that. And so,
Exactly. To make
um,
sure like she's not taking on too much weight on her
exactly,
end, even
exactly.
though she wants to support you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't need to bear all that weight, and so I wanted to
Exactly.
help out in the best way I could.
Yeah.
So
And I like to ask that because I don't think I think even a lot of listeners and viewers or people who are considering going to flight school may not know that at Thrust Flight specifically,
yeah,
our students don't work.
yeah,
We require you to be a full time student because we want to, we want you to be committed so that we can commit to you, kind of thing.
yeah,
I'm always wondered like how do people do that? But the
yeah,
stipend and the loan is something I didn't understand.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, how did you know that that was going to be an option? How did you come across that
Yeah.
solution?
Yeah, so we talked about that with Thrust Flight whenever we were like talking to our missions team, and
Hmm.
they were telling us about, getting that set up. That's an easy way to do it. I'm willing to do anything to chase my dream, right?
Exactly.
And I think that that's the message I'd like to get across is that, like, I know, like, it's tough being, in debt and things like that, but I think that really at the end of the day, like, you're going to have to pay to get to where you want to go.
I
And
really
it's the
like
same
that.
thing with college. Like, I
Yeah.
went through college too. And I got done with college and I walked across the stage and sat down. I was like, was this worth it for me? And that was just me. And I could have gone down a different career, things like that. But at least like here, like I knew like from the get go, I was like, okay, this is worth it. And, I'm glad that, I bit the bullet and, paid for the loan. So,
I really like the way you put that. I share that viewpoint, and you're saying that as someone who, like you said, chose to go down like a path most traveled because
yeah.
hey, if it makes sense, don't if it works, then don't you don't have to fix it.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what
Yeah.
they say,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
But I've never been very good at that. Like I wasn't good at like maybe I couldn't see the road most traveled or something. I don't
Yep.
know what it is, but I've never been very good at that. So I kind of just did things the hard way sometimes.
Yep.
But I kind of just committed to it. But one thing that I've never really been able to get on the same page with people who have taken that road, the
Yeah.
other road, is like the viewpoint. Like you shared a good viewpoint that says even in college you have to like work hard
Yep.
to get through it and to leverage it and for it to be worth it. I mean, college students. Like my girlfriend had support and she went through college,
Yep.
but she hustled and she lived with people and she worked like jobs she didn't want to work. People walk places. They make money last. They take out loans. And I'm not gonna say it's the same risk or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm saying if you want to do something, you're gonna have to like work hard at it, no
Yeah.
matter what it
Absolutely.
is.
For
Just
sure.
might as well work hard at whatever you want to do
Yeah.
instead.
Definitely. For sure.
So if you're still listening, I'm hoping you're enjoying it. I'm assuming you are because you're still listening. Ask some questions in the comments. We usually get a good conversation going there. Otherwise, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps our channel, and especially if you're on a streaming platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. So if you're in the car, you can listen to us without getting distracted.
There you go.
And that really helps other people find us. And if you are someone who's thinking about starting flight training, maybe it's just purely an interest. Google flight school near me. There's a lot more than you think. There's a lot of little airports. It's not just your major airports where jets are flying. But either way, Google flight school near me, and you may find an instructor that's willing to take you on a flight, or even a bigger school that's willing to do a discovery flight. But the idea is get in a plane and see how you feel, and that's usually something that tells people, you know what, this is what I want to do. I've heard that from a lot of our instructors. Thrustflight does offer discovery flights, so give us a call or visit thrustflight.com if you're interested in flying with us. Otherwise, figure it out and find a way to get in a plane. I love to see people start a new dream. So you're someone who went to a 4-year university and then kind of like went on still figuring out what do I want to do and was that worth it? And for some people it is, but for you, you decided to start school again, basically
Yep.
as a pilot. Um, can you give me a little insight on like not maybe not the comparison, but
Sure.
you do what you think you're supposed to do and then you change your mind later. What's that like?
Yeah, definitely. So I went to college, got a 4-year degree.
Hmm.
So my degree was in architecture.
Oh, that's cool.
It was cool. Yeah, I wanted to go down that path, right? But the more that I was in it, the more I realized that, like, one big comparison I can make to flight school versus college is
Hmm.
that college, whenever you would go into a class, it was like, all right, you have to take this class to take the next classes next semester,
Mm.
right? Or this next year, whatever it was. So it was like, all right, you have to take a prereq to get to the actual class.
It wasn't even about the thing that much, right?
Exactly. And then whenever you got to that class, it was like, this is not necessarily like applicable to anything that I might need to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a check mark that I needed to box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas flight school, you go to ground class and you learn a lot about, how your aircraft flies, some principles. Then you meet up with your flight instructor. You talk about, what are y'all going to do on the flight? And then you actually apply it to the plane. So that knowledge that you do gain in flight school from the get-go, it goes all the way to the very end of your training. And even you as an instructor, like there's still things that I am learning, but there's a lot of stuff that I know from my very beginning of learning to be a private student. So I think the really big distinguishing factor that I found for myself was that college was not necessarily like what you learned is what you applied. Whereas here, like everything you learn, like it has a use for, some form of aviation, whether it be your ground knowledge or something that you can use in the flight too.
Do you feel like there's more of an opportunity to obsess whatever it is over whatever it is that you're learning in flight training versus college? And I mean, of course, that's per person, but
Yeah. Like in flight training, like you just learn so many different areas of aviation. There's kind of a joke that, a pilot is also, a lawyer, a doctor, a mechanic, you name it. Like there's all these different hats that you wear as one pilot. And it's true. Like, you have to know all these different things. And so I think the reward that you do get from learning is way higher than what I felt like I received in college.
And that's a good way to put it. I've always wondered. That's part of what I struggled with personally. Is I wasn't really good at applying myself in a lot of student situations. I think I would do better now, but
Yeah.
situations where I didn't really recognize the common thread between what it is that I was learning and what it is that I was supposed to be doing. Um, some people are fine with that though. Some people
Yeah.
operate really well that way. What do you think the difference is between someone who can apply themselves in college and someone who would definitely benefit from a flight training sort of environment?
I think flight training, it's those that are, maybe mechanically minded, maybe a little bit logical minded, those who love, problem solving. There's always something new or something that changes with flying. That's really like something that I see in myself is that I love figuring out things and getting new challenges that are thrown your way. It's a challenging career and it's a challenging bit of training too. And I think that those that are always up to a challenge, I think those are the ones that really do thrive.
Right, that makes sense. It seems like for me, it would be easier to be motivated and focused in an environment where I'm like more hands on, engaged to problem solve and things like that.
Yep.
As well. It seems like it just in general is a more focused way to think
Yeah.
about it.
And like you said, it's very engaging. Like literally everything that you learn, you actually do really apply it. And that's why I think college is a little different for me, at least in my, degree that I got, because it was all about like, oh, here's the theory behind this, but then you didn't really see the fruit of your labor.
Yeah, and it's its own tunnel. And if you're not, you know, die hard interested, then you probably won't see the light at that
Yep,
end of
exactly.
that tunnel either.
And that's a good point. I wasn't super interested in my major, and that's honestly why I have like probably beef that I have with it. Is whereas like now I love what I do, and this is why I'm super passionate about it.
Isn't it strange how isn't it because you probably did that because that's kind of like what people do, right? That's kind of like makes sense. Like there's a lot of data. People do that and they succeed or whatever.
Yep.
Isn't it strange though how we would commit to something so big
Yeah.
that even though we know we're much more interested in doing something else?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
I don't know. That intrigues me the most, I guess.
I think that like for me at least, like it's the classic. You go to college, you're guaranteed a job. That kind of lifestyle, which like is true for a lot of people, right? But there's a lot of people that it might not be true. I know a ton of people that they graduated with a degree that they're like, oh, I'm really like this.
Exactly.
And then they cross that stage and like, I don't want to do this.
Are we just hoping that I don't know? For me, like I always felt strange about it. Maybe I was just hoping that that since it made sense for them, it would make sense for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so,
For sure.
Well, anyways, for anyone for anyone who's thinking about what they may do, hopefully you got a little bit of insight out of this episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say.
Yep.
And I was happy to talk to you today, Chisholm. I think that if you guys haven't watched the previous episode with Chisholm, did we do 2 episodes with you or just 1?
We've done I think we did 2. Yeah, we've done 2 before.
So this might be the 3rd one, right?
Yeah.
So we've gotten to know you've got a whole profile. Maybe we're gonna go back and make something out of that.
That sounds good.
But you guys are welcome to go check that out and kind of see some of the topics we talked about. I really like where we went with this one. Sure. If you any last words that you have to say to anyone who's thinking about starting flight training?
Yeah, for sure. If you're passionate about it, it's probably one of the best choices I've ever made. And definitely go and do a discovery flight. Talk to pilots. That's what I did to really make sure that I was really deciding that this is the path I wanted to go down. And once that aviation bug bit me, like I was definitely infected with it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week on the next episode.